right, good evening, everyone. We have got a wonderful match for you tonight. This is the Randomizer tournament, round 5 of the Swiss rounds. We have a matchup here between Sylverfyre and Edgeworth. Both of these runners are 3-1, and so they have both already clinched berths in the bracket stages. But this is for seeding, so ideally the player with the better record is going to get the easier competition in the next round, but what we've seen from this tournament is really there's no such thing as easy competition. And so I'm joined here in the booth by the legendary Z-Man. How you doing, Z?
I'm doing fantastically, Tila. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
Doing all right. Just watched a really nice, long level 21 seed and ready to see something that might be a little zippier.
We can hope. But either way, though, I am very much looking forward to this race. We've got two veterans here at Dragon Warrior, and not to mention just the randomizer community in general. Both Silver and Edgestream play a ton of randomizers. So, I'm really, really looking forward to this one.
I mean, we have Sylverfyre here, who Sylverfyre and Sparkover ran this randomizer at RPG Limit Break this year, which was a big factor in us having as large of a tournament field as we did. And then Edgeworth over here, who's has won the Final Fantasy Randomizer tournament, I think last year, and just plays all sorts of stuff amazingly well, has killed competition this year. He has had a brutal lineup and has knocked off both Game Boy and NES Cardinality, who were the finalists last year. Game Boy is the 2-time defending champion. So this has been a brutal schedule for him, and he is just showing up and, killing it. So this is going to be a wonderful matchup. I'm really looking forward to it. These are two incredibly talented players.
Yeah, indeed. And we have gotten the go from IRC, so we will be heading to the race momentarily. So the big thing we're looking at here, looking at their starting stats, great starting stat of strength at 17, great agility at 15. Doesn't look like killing some of these early enemies is going to be any much of a problem for these runners. Let's see what we have in the treasury. Or throne room, as it is. We have an herb, we have a cursed belt, and we have the customary key. So we're not going to have any spells to get going today. So, that cursed belt, 180 gold in their pocket should they choose to sell it.
And 17 strength is a number you're always happy to see, because that means you can take on anything in this starting zone without too much trouble at all. As you can see, Sylverfyre just taking out a ghost real rapidly. Now, on the other side, a Magic Drake breathing fire is not quite what you're looking for.
No, not quite what you're looking for in any way, shape, or form. And we have our first death of the seed with the Magic Drake sending Edge back to start. And what do we have here at level 2 on Silver's side? A fairly solid level all around, and the spell of Sleep.
That's going to help out quite a bit in terms of early grinding. Now you can probably take on, if you run into maybe not with the 2 hit points Silver has left, but after they die, you could probably take on a Warlock or so with this strength and sleep.
But they do indeed take the sleep lock onto the Scorpion and get to level 3. A little bit of a disappointing level, but not bad.
Edge getting knocked out by yet another Magidrake. They are not treating him very kindly today.
Now, I have a hunch some revenge kills of Magidrakes are going to be in the offing on Edge's side at some point. Oh, look, they have Heal More too. That's gonna be fun!
Well, the good news about them having Heal More is you're not going to get them in Heal More range before they kill you with DL2 fire, until you're able to one-shot them. So it becomes less of an issue.
This is true. We have Silver exploring a little bit more of the map here, trying to find a town, probably. This magician should go down without too much of a problem. Edge getting back attacked by a ghost, but should take out this ghost relatively simply. And he gets to level 2. And we do have a cave on Silver's side, but the Warlock sends them back to start with the Hurtmore spell.
Yeah, remember when I mentioned sleep being helpful in killing a Warlock? When it misses and they have Hurtmore, not quite as helpful.
Not quite at all. Edge taking down a Scorpion to also get to level 3. Sylverfyre taking on a Magidrake, and they find the secret of the Magidrake.
Meanwhile, Edge putting one to sleep just so he can exact his revenge.
And get to level 4. Let's see what's at level 4 here. 4 power, 3 agility, 5 hit point, 9 magic points. Solid level. Sylverfyre following Edge closely behind, getting to level 4. Sandman Ahoy, what does the red HP on the tracker mean? The red HP means you are dangerously low for your level. Bad starting stack. We do have like a black-blue type thing, which represents a minimum, but the red indicates dangerously low for your level.
Specifically, for hit points, the red goes up to 23 because you can still be one-shot by Baby Breath until you reach 24 hit points.
Indeed. And we do have the town of Garenham here, just to the south and west of Thilotilo Castle. I would imagine Sylverfyre is going to sell their cursed belt while they're here, after putting on the dragon scale.
I don't think they meant to use the herb there. I think they meant to put on the dragon scale and accidentally use that herb. But
yeah, I do believe that was a mismenu.
But I assume the order was being done so that they could sell both the dragon scale and the cursed belt in one spell swoop. And Edge hits level 5.
Let's see if we have anything good here. Some good stats. No magic, though, but no new spell, I should say.
This strength is coming at a pretty good clip, though. So that's promising, because that tends to be the limiting factor at endgame.
And Silver does pick up a copper sword, so they can kill some of these earlier enemies a whole lot easier. Edge looking like he's just hanging out by Thilotilo Castle, working up a few levels here, and Sylverfyre has found a cave.
That seems like Swamps... No? Swamp South, maybe?
Yeah, I think Swamp... It is. It is absolutely Swamp South. And Swamp South leads to yet another cave. Let's see what we have right next to the Swamp Cave. Edge taking out a skeleton and getting ever so closer to level 6. With this skeleton kill, Edge will get to level 6. Meanwhile, we have Sylverfyre finding the Stones of Sunlight cave and picking up some gold.
Now, do you consider grinding this gold chest a few times when you know what's in Garenham?
Well, I missed a lot of what was in Garenham. I believe I saw a chainmail. If I was in this situation, I absolutely would do a little bit of a grind for at least some armor and maybe a hand axe if there was one in Garenham. And then just head back real quick. Or Death Warp, like kind of sort of unintentionally happened there with the blue dragon.
Yeah, I did kind of miss what was at Garanham as well, except for I noticed the chainmail. So, however, that being said, after one trip in there, they had enough money for the chainmail after the Death Warp, so it's probably what they're going to do right now.
Yeah, that would make a ton of sense. Let's see what else is available here. Large shield. I would absolutely do a couple of grinds, a couple of those chests then for a large shield. You know, having a copper sword, a chainmail, and a large shield, pretty good for early game.
To answer your question, Ferran, it was the combination of getting sleep on level 2 plus starting with 17 strength that made it pretty easy for them to get going pretty rapidly.
And Sylverfyre runs into yet another Jerkbird, which sends them back to start. So Silver's been taken out now by a Magiwyvern and a Star Wyvern. Edge is going to use that one herb he has to get to this town, and we know this town is indeed Garanham.
And what's nice is because of all the grinding he did, Edge is actually going to have the opportunity to buy both the chainmail and the copper sword once he sells the cursed belt. So he's able to get both those things in one fell swoop.
Indeed. But as you can see, by buying that copper sword, Sylverfyre is now one-shotting scorpions. And let's see if they try to go after this. Warlock does not, because we do know that the Warlock has hurt more. And look, Sylverfyre discovers that the Magidrakes have heal more. Sylverfyre getting to level 5. And the same Jerkbird that took down Sylverfyre takes down Edge. And it looks like Sylverfyre has found the Mountain Cave. And that is the cave to the south and east of Tantagel Castle. I think. Yep. Alright, so what's here in the first? We have an herb. What's in the second? In the second is some more gold. Oh look, another Jerkbird. Sending Sylverfyre back to start.
Syl actually just showed there why I always go for that chest south first. Technically speaking, it's like 2 steps shorter to go to the north 2 chests first, but I always like to get that one because you never know when something nasty is going to show up to kill you, and that one is really close to the start.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Tilo, and you never know what could be in that first chest. You know, that could have been a key, it could have been the sword. You never know what's going to be in that one chest, and I prefer getting that one chest when I don't know what the enemy set is, and I could get slaughtered on the way up to the other 2. So this Drakima here will get Edge to level 7. And level 7, some minor gains, but you do get the spell of Heal More.
Yeah, so far this map is looking kind of linear. They were only able to kind of get fed over here to Garanham, and then Syl just checked everything in the area southeast of Garanham, and it turned out to be nothing, so only one way they can go. Syl making excellent use of the sleep straps to knock out a nice monster in the Wolf Lord, and Edge finding 40 agility is not going to help get away from an Armored Knight.
No, but Edge does discover that the Armored Knights have the spell of Hurt, which is fantastic for grinding. That heal more, a little less fantastic. But with the stop spell resistance of 6 out of 16, stick a stop spell on and hope for the best. And Silver finding another cave, which is the Jerk Cave. It is the Rainbow Drop Cave.
They managed to make it across the swamp with 1 hit point remaining, and now they're going to have to deal with an Armored Knight, choosing just to swing so they can Death Warp and getting the good news of hurt in the process.
Meanwhile, we have Edge taking on a Magiwyvern here using Sleep and Heal More strats. But doesn't work as the Magiwyvern sends Edge back to start.
Yeah, so at this point, they're getting kind of limited in what they can do. There's not a lot of great monsters to grind on. The Magiwyvern maybe just a little much, even though you can put them to sleep, so you never know if you're going to be able to get them down, but not doing a lot of damage, so it takes quite a few swings, and they're still packing quite a punch on you, so... then again, if they never wake up, that's not really a problem. So
yeah, right.
Pretty good for Edge.
Yeah, it is looking more and more like that Swamp Cave is going to be the major progress in this seed, unless there's a pathway we have both missed. Edgestream taking on a Warlock, and just figures out Warlocks have hurt more.
Now, this difficulty in finding anything is really making the stop and grind a preferable option. You see that in the process that Edge has gone out and explored, Syl is getting awfully close to catching back up to him after he got almost a 300 experience lead, and meanwhile, while Syl explored it, and then Silver's grinding and Edge is trying to explore, and you're seeing it go the exact opposite direction.
Yeah, they're within about 100 experience points of each other, I think 130, and they're both at level 7. So, not too terribly much of a difference here. And we do have Edge taking out that Warlock. And I would imagine Edge is going to go into what we know to be the Mountain Cave.
I think Syl's making the same play as well.
This Droll Magi would be big for Syl if they can take it down. Droll Magi's do give a bunch of good experience, especially early in the seed.
And them having hurt is going to help a little bit with that, although pretty much the same damage range as what they're doing with swing.
And a Star Wyvern that is patrolling the Mountain Cave takes out Edgestream. Looks like Edge is going to now choose to do a little bit of grinding up in that forest up there. I think that was the area that has some skeletons and wolves, I believe. And Syl gets away from that armored knight on 1 HP and no MP. And a Spectre.
The funny thing is, they headed towards the swamp so intently, I wonder if they thought that that one tile was going to death warp them, and it didn't happen. Because they kind of sat there for a second, and then they're like, alright, let's keep going.
Why aren't I dead? Alright, this is a sign. I keep going.
And they've made some excellent exploration since then, too.
Yeah. Using those runs to full advantage, but I'm pretty sure it'll end here with this blue dragon.
Well, we have sleep. Don't know if there's anything else hiding back there as well, but sleep can still be quite obnoxious from a blue dragon that you can't defense break until super late.
And even with an agility of 40, a Magidrake can still sneak up on you and make a charcoal lump out of you. See if is Edge gonna try the mountain cave again, or yep, he's gonna try the mountain cave again. So let's see if we can see what's in the other 3 chests here in the mountain cave, or will that roaming jerk bird take care of our runners yet again? And the roving jerkbird takes care of Edge again. Alright, if Edge can take care of this Magidrake, Edge will get to level 8, and we have level 8 obtained on both sides simultaneously. And a new spell at level 8, which is the spell of Hurt.
So, Hurt... you could theoretically think about, maybe not this HP, but you could theoretically think about throwing Hurts at the Armored Knights and going back and forth with them on that. With Heal More and Hurt, you could take them out if they used Hurt most of the time and didn't have Heal More. Of course, they don't know that. They'd have Heal More at the moment, but that might be a strategy you could think about doing. That's a lot of experience at once for just one little long fight.
This is true. And Edge making a 3rd dive into the mountain cave. Let's see if this... Oh, no. Oh, no. Hey! Gets away.
Meanwhile, it looks like Sylverfyre is content to just go ahead and grind yet another level. Hurt not making them feel particularly ambitious.
Edge looks like he's going to take care of a Wolf Lord with some sleep strats. Nice kill. Alright, and now we are to the 2nd floor. Edge is going to go south, and I believe this was a gold chest here. As long as this jerkbird says that yes, Edge can pass. Okay, he gets away from yet another jerkbird. But not this one. So Edge has made 3 dives into the mountain cave, and 3 times a Star Wyvern has stopped his progress.
Yeah, the Jerkbirds are really living up to their name in this particular seed.
Meanwhile, Syl is still continuing their steady grind to level 9 at 975 experience points. Alright, Edge is now just determined to get to at least these next couple of chests. And gets a hero run through floor 1. Let's see how far he can get in floor 2. Oh, and this time an Axe Knight does him dirty.
Oh, I have a feeling when Hurtmore comes into the picture, the mountain cave will become a very, very violent place.
We've seen quite a few Hurtmoreable enemies in that cave. We've seen a green dragon. We've seen plenty of star wyverns, and now Axe Knights. That's going to be a nice little place to do a middle grind if these two do get hurt more relatively quickly.
And I'll also say, just with it, looks like we've got a bunch of the early monsters, and we've got a bunch of the in-game monsters. We don't have a whole lot of those mid-range monsters. I know we've seen Wolf Lords and Droll Magi, but the monster set we have seen so far is going to make Hurtmore so incredibly valuable that I like Sylverfyre's thoughts here of, let's try one more level before we go out and try to deal with the Sharlock level enemies.
So, therefore, incoming level 16 Hurtmore. Gotcha. Sylverfyre getting level 9. Let's see what we get here. Solid level. Speaking of one of those mid-game enemies, there's one in the Druin Lord.
Now, I may be mistaken, but I had thought that the Druin Lord had a really high resistance to sleep, so I think that may be a really lucky, may have been a really lucky sleep land there. And speaking of sleep lands, the Wraith Knight, another of those mid-tier enemies, appears to have sleep as well. Yep, that's what I thought. Druin Lord having a 15 out of 16 sleep resist, so Edge got really lucky with that one landing to give him the 58 experience points.
And the next 2 chests in the mountain cave, the Fighter's Ring and some gold. So let's see, will this enemy set allow Edge to get to the 5th and final chest in the mountain cave?
Edge pulling out the RNG manipulation strats there.
And a Dragon Scale. So other than the Fighter's Ring, this mountain cave is pretty well a bust. And it looks like Sylverfyre is going back into the swamp cave, knowing that it looks pretty certain that progress is through the mountain, the swamp cave. Metal Slime for Syl here. Can they get rid of a Metal Slime? And a Jerkbird takes out Edge's last dive into the mountain cave. Only seems fitting.
Oh, and there's like a metropolis over here on the other side of the river.
Yes, the question is, how do you get to it? Over the bridge and through the swamp. To grandmother's house we go? Alright, so what do we have here? We have the town of Rimeldar. It's Key Town.
Syl's managed to bring enough money to get the full complement of keys here. So that's going to be really nice, allowing them to check the chest in Rimeldar and still be able to do whatever else they need. We already obviously can check the castle, can check, we know where Garretham is, so that's already available for checking, so these keys are going to be huge.
Now it looks like Edge is going back into Garretham, and I'm betting he's going to pick up a large shield. Alright, so what do we have here in the town of Rimeldar? We have an herb.
still wants all their resources, doesn't want to take any chances on missing out on this next town a few steps away.
Gonna check what's in this town just for giggles. And there is a flame sword here. And a broadsword and a half plate. Should they get enough money.
Now we play the waiting game as the NPC is becoming very mean.
Most difficult boss in the game is the moving NPC that doesn't move. Oh, look. Breckenary.
Probably exactly what Syl's thinking at that moment. Of course, isn't that what we're always thinking when we see Breckenary?
Well, it does come in useful every so often, especially early in the game, right by Thilotilo, so you can curse yourself and get uncursed, or, stay at a cheap inn, I suppose, or, when it has, like, a silver shield or something, I guess it can be useful.
And I'm wondering if Syl forgot that the warlocks had hurt more, because they opted to swing there when in a very unlikely to one-shot scenario, and then proceeded to take a hurt more to the face.
Alright, so now Syl, taking the death, is now going to check the Thilotilo treasury. What do we have? We have wings. We have herb. We have another key, so use a key, get a key. Do we have a gold grind possible in the treasury? We do. Top left has gold.
Now I wonder if Syl opts to make a beeline right for the mountain cave after discovering whatever's in the back of the castle here.
I mean, pretty ideally, this would be the grave of Garen, so, with a gold chest in the first 3. That would be the ideal thing. But of course, the ideal world is not a real thing, and it's just the Silver Harp to Staff of Rain Cave. Meanwhile, Edge also finds the town of Rimmeldar.
So while I suggest that Sylverfyre may be making going straight towards mountain to see if they can set up a gold grind, I'm wondering if Edge decides instead to wait for wait until he finds the grave to set anything up, since he's already had enough of Mountain Cave at this point.
Yeah, I would definitely think he's going to wait till the grave, I would think. Unless the grave could be we could have Vanilla Grave in the back of Garenham, and he could just take a death real quick after getting the first 3 chests in the back of Garenham. Because at this point, I do believe we've seen every cave but the grave and the tablet cave.
I believe that's correct.
Meanwhile, the jerk bird roaming the mountain cave gets its 5th death of the day. Oh, look, knights also have Dragon Lord 2 breath. That's fun.
Yeah, that pretty much takes them off the table until we get hurt more. They can be obnoxious too, with I feel like they surprise attack me an awful lot.
I feel like they do have a tendency to surprise attack, especially more than most of those mid-tier enemies. And with an agility of 78, it makes sense.
Oh boy. So we knew blue dragons had sleep, but now Edge discovers that they also have Dragon Lord 2 Breath. So we are going to have a potential Wombo combo in Charlock.
It is indeed the Wombo combo, and it is indeed, well, could very well be in Charlock. All right, Tracker, let's see the percentages here. We want to see the percentage of Wombo combo.
I'm guessing 75 sleep and 25 Dragon Lord. 50 sleep, 27.
50 sleep, 25 Dragon Lord? That's not too bad. Also, thank you to our Tracker, the Hangry Canuck, and our Restreamer, Lord of the Synth. So yeah, those aren't too terribly bad, I suppose, but you know, that stop spell resistance is awfully high.
Yeah, but with the blue dragon, you only need 42 agility to be a coin flip to run from them. So by the time you hit Charlock, you're probably going to try to run rather than land a stop spell anyway. And especially with that resistance, your odds of successfully running are much better than landing a stop spell.
It looks like Edge is running right back into the mountain cave and like, I want that grind.
Well, we've seen a flame sword at this point, and we've seen a silver shield. I don't remember what the best armor we've seen is. I know we've seen a half-plate. I don't know if we've seen anything better than that. But the Jerkbird is going to remind Edge why he didn't want to come back to this game.
And the Jerkbird getting kills 6 and 7 in this seed. Oh man, this Jerkbird is feasting in the mountain cave. Edge is like, screw this, I'm leaving.
Yeah, I think at this point he may be content to try to, well, maybe not. But I was thinking maybe go ahead and grind to level 9 since he's so close. Oh, never mind, he's going to check the back of Garanham. Of course.
So let's see, what do we got back here? We got a 50-50 chance of an immediate gold grind possible. We have yet another cursed belt. We have the silver harp. And we have some fairy water. So, what the cursed belt here means is now we've seen both cursed belts. So that means all 3 search spots, the Overworld, Coal, and Hawksness, will all have something.
Meanwhile, Sylverfyre is able to finally get to those 2 chests in the mountain cave, allowing them to set up the gold grind whenever they die. We have some vanilla specters here with sleep, but obviously not hitting very strongly, so that's not really a big deal. And they also have hurt, which again, also not that big a deal, although it'll be a whole lot less when we get the magic armor or Urtrix armor.
And Edge does get sent back to the start, but that's not really a terrible thing because there is a gold grind possible now. He did open up the 3 chests in the back of Garanham, so he can absolutely institute a gold grind. Tilo, for those of them, so for those people in chat that may not be familiar, what does this whole gold grind thing entail?
So basically, the game keeps track of how what treasure chests have been opened. But in the vanilla game, there was never an instance in which any of the dungeons had more than 8 chests, so they didn't bother to add the capability to track more than 8 chests. However, they forgot to, and that list of chests is completely cleared anytime you enter the overworld. There was an oversight where they did not clear that when you died, and so if you die in a cave and have opened some chests, then you come back to the castle. When you go into the throne room, they automatically mark those chests as open so that you can only get them when you very first start the game. And so you get those 3 chests from the throne room, plus whatever you opened up in the cave beforehand, and then you come and once you open the 9th chest after that, the game has nowhere to store the location that says, hey, this treasure chest is open. And so it goes ahead and gives you the items, and it never takes it off the board, and so you can open it until you are content. This is actually a strategy that is used in the vanilla speedrun as well, at least the non-RNG manipulated version. And you get to grind gold 6 to 13 at a time to 5,500. That's a fun 20 minutes. But fortunately, our randomizer developers decided to be a little nicer to us, and instead those chests contain between, I don't remember the exact number, something like 500 to 750.
It's like 500 to 750, something like that. We also had a question in chat. What is a jerk bird? The first time I ever heard a jerk bird reference was to Pazuzu in Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, and it just kind of refers to any avian in RPGs that has a tendency to be a real, jerk. So we just call them jerk birds.
If you ever go to the TV tropes site, although I caution you, you will lose the rest of your day if you do so, there is a whole birds are jerks category in that. As in every game, it seems like the flying creatures are the bane of your existence.
Adversarian Beta Strep here has pointed out in chat that they first heard it in regards to either Castlevania or Ninja Gaiden, which also has jerk birds.
Yeah, and just by giving all those examples, they prove the point of birds are jerks, period.
Edge finding the second of his 3 key items, finding the Stones of Sunlight here in the Grave of Garen.
Now we're having discussions on what constitutes a bird. In the case of jerk birds, anything that flies can qualify. Be it bats, birds, insects, whatever you want to look at. If it flies, it is can fall under the category of the jerk bird.
Yeah, I agree. If it has wings, it can be a jerk bird. Edge did get to level 9 here in the grave, and Sylverfyre did grind all the way to 32,500, so they are definitely preparing for the big 3 purchase: Magic Armor, Flame Sword, and Silver Shield.
And now they just have to find the items to purchase. We obviously have the Silver Shield in Garanham, and we know we have the Flame Sword in Rimmaldar. I don't believe we've seen the Magic Armor yet, unless I've completely whiffed.
I think somebody in chat pointed out that Edge saw the Magic Armor in Breckenary.
Ah, sorry, you walk into Breckenary, I just tune out.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, absolutely understandable. So Syl does pick up their Silver Shield, and is very close to level 11, or 10, sorry. Edge just about to get to the 4th chest in the grave, and this 4th chest contains a torch.
So at this point, we're down to the bottom of the grave, the Tablet Cave, or Sharlock for our potential sword locations.
Mm-hmm. Sylverfyre does check the back of Garanham and does pick up their silver harp, and walks out the back.
I'm assuming that was a accidental input there.
I'm definitely assuming that as well.
I mean, I imagine as soon as they saw the grave, they'd probably nope right out just because they want to hold on to the gold. But you would at least want to check and see if that was Tablet instead.
And Edge finding out that blue dragons do in fact have Dragon Lord 2 breath. That's fun. Oh, and there's a town to the south of the Swamp Cave that we haven't seen yet, and this is Hawksness.
And Syl manages to get away from an armored knight a few steps away to learn that information. It was very impressive.
And Edge finding out that the knights have Dragon Lord 2 breath. At this point, both of our runners would be like, I need hurt more.
We're going to get level 10 over here on Syl's side. Let's see what they get 1 power, 6 response speed, 3 hit points, 1 magic point, and the spell of Radiant, I think. No, Stop Spell.
Stop spell.
Stop Spell's not awful. That could be useful. Again, if you wanted to try to take on an Armored Knight, you might have better chance with Stop Spell and Hurts than you would running.
But not that hurt more that is so very clearly coveted. And the knight sends Edge back to start again. Edge being the first one to hit Death 20 in this seed.
Sylverfyre making an interesting decision in running into the blue dragon. They opted to heal more so they couldn't get one shot. Now, I'm not sure which sides we've seen the blue dragon sleep on. Maybe Syl hasn't seen it yet, but that felt like a risky play to me if they had.
And Silver entering the town of Rumeldar, and I believe will pick up their flame sword here.
And this NPC being equally as cruel on the enter as they were last time when Syl attempted to leave.
And I would imagine now Syl is going to check out the town of Breckenary and find their magic armor.
The rate at which our runners are getting away from Armored Knights is really impressing me.
I mean, I think we've established throughout this tournament that agility is nothing but a suggestion. And Edge is becoming very close to figuring out that pretty close to confirming that all of the progression will be on what I believe to be a second continent through the Swamp Cave.
Yeah, it certainly looks like he's getting to the end of the line here.
So Sylverfyre did find the magic armor in the town of Breckenary, and they are now loaded for bear. Flame sword, magic armor, silver shield.
Fortunately, while magic armor does protect you, does dampen hurt and hurt more by a factor of a third, it does nothing for the Dragonlord 2 breath that seems to be so enjoyed by the monsters of Alefgard at the moment.
And here's the third member of the Jerkbird family, is the Wyvern Jerk. Alley Song, what is the number by their names? That is the death counter, how many times in the seed they have died. And we do see the town of Sharlock over on Sylverfyre's side. The question is, where is it? Sylverfyre got sent back to the castle. Is it not far from Tantagil, and we've just missed it this whole time?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I felt like we'd explored this entire first continent, but our runners keep finding places to go, so apparently I am incorrect on that observation.
Well, if Edge didn't know the Blue Dragons had sleep, he does now.
And there's the knights doing the surprise attacks I was referring to earlier.
And there did look to be a bunch of land to the south of Sharlock, so hopefully we see Sylverfyre get back there relatively quickly.
I think Edge has been sick of being killed by these mid-level monsters and is opting to grind. Go ahead and take a quick grind to level 10. It's only 200 experience away, hoping that maybe that'll give him hurt more and allow him to exact his revenge.
And Sylverfyre has found the grave. So we saw on Edge's dive that Edge got the first 4, but could not get the 5th chest. Let's see if Sylverfyre gets a little luckier here with the beefed up equipment and can get the 5th chest down at the bottom of the grave.
Now, where was the harp?
The harp was in the back of Garanham.
Okay.
Yep, the harp in the back of Garanham, the stones in the grave of Garanham, which is behind Garanham. Yeah.
So, runners are still looking for Cole, Cantlin, and Sylverfyre has found Hawksness, but without Hurtmore, there's not a lot of good things you're going to find there at the moment. Again, I think that maybe an Armor Knight could be takeable, but it'd be a long fight. With only 44 hit points, you couldn't survive 2 hits, so you'd have to heal more every time they swung. So I think probably even with Axe Knights, you may not be able to survive 2 hits, so you couldn't ever get a hit off on them. Stonemen, you have sleep, so maybe. Red dragons, blue dragons, no. Blue dragons obviously with sleep, and then golems you also wouldn't be able to survive hits on, and they don't have the fairy flute. So yeah, there's absolutely no reason to check the spike tile at Hawksness at the moment.
A couple more kills for Edge, and Edge will reach level 10. And Edge now reaches level 10 and gets the mostly disappointing news that there is no Hurtmore at level 10, although Stop Spell is nice. Okay, so Syl is now making their way down to try to get the 5th chest here. If this happens to be the sword, this is going to give Sylverfyre a tremendous advantage.
Syl's gonna have to get through this Armored Knight first, which I know they've had pretty good run luck. Never mind. There's another run. The only monster apparently they can consistently run from are the Armored Knights.
And we have the Jerk Bird trifecta. Wyverns have DL2 breath. So yeah, if it has wings in this seed, it's a jerk. And it is the sword. Oh no!
That is not good if you're Edge.
No, that is terrible if you're Edge, but that gives Sylverfyre a huge advantage.
I mean, it's one of those things of, do you ever go back into the grave before you go into Sharlock? And yeah, it's hard. I've grown into into the thought of always dive grave, but there's a good statistical reason that you might not want to. I just find I'm always wrong if I choose to bank on it being in Charlock. So I always dive grave now. But man, after getting the 4th chest, hey, he's at least going to hold off until he has Hurtmore. I can promise you that. He's not about to try these caves again. He's had enough trouble with these monsters.
And I think it also depends on the enemy set, right? I mean, the enemy set in the grave isn't the easiest enemy set in the world. So I wouldn't blame Edge at all if he just doesn't go back in the grave at all until, after he checks all of the Charlock chests.
Yeah, although the enemy set's tough, but if you have Hurtmore, that's actually a really nice grindable area as you're going down. Lots of monsters in that area that are just that perfect 1 Hurtmore range. So it may not actually end up being so bad when you get Hurtmore. It might actually make me more apt to do it. But it depends. If all the rest of my stats are there by the time I learn Hurtmore, I probably will just dive Charlock.
Something I feel as though I need to point out here that, we've kind of overlooked as our runners have progressed here in the seed. Take a look at their HP levels at level 10. Their HP levels are pathetic. We have 44 for Sylverfyre, who's running a Strength Agility build, and we have 46 for Edgestream at level 10. Oh, or in this case, level 11 now for Sylverfyre. And level 11 did it come with a spell? It did. It came with the spell of
Little Heal.
Little Heal. Yep.
Which, when you have this many hit points, Little Heal and Heal More are pretty much the same thing.
And the Wyverns now keep sending Edge back to start. That is the 3rd Wyvern in a row that has back attacked Edge and used DL2 breath on Edge.
Zarnak's making a very good point. With these nasty HP gains, the strength HP versus strength agility could end up becoming a significant factor, requiring Sylverfyre to get another level. Now, I do know I've heard Sylverfyre talk about the strength agility before, and they basically say you have to be comfortable going, at 94, 93 hit points, knowing that if you're at that, your opponent's going to be high enough to take on the Dragon Lord without having to worry about having to do the double heal more. So you have to be comfortable doing that if you want to run the strength agility build. So if it comes to that, I imagine Sylverfyre will still dive at the level, at same level as Edge, because they are kind of, they understand the risks and are willing to take those chances.
Meanwhile, Edge is now just getting the absolute crap end of the luck, absolutely not being able to do a thing on the overworld. Keeps getting sent back by armored knights and wyverns.
Yeah, it's really frustrating trying to find a decent spot to grind, and you can only grind so long. So you want to keep exploring, but you keep getting sent back, so you want to grind, but it's hard to find a place to grind because everything has Dragon Lord, or at least every zone has something with Dragon Lord breath that'll send you home.
Yeah, so we do have a cave here on Edge's side. Have we seen this cave before? I'm not sure if we have or haven't.
What it was. I know Sil found it.
I think this is the jerk. I think this is the jerk. And something that I am a bit surprised that we haven't seen Edge do yet, that we have seen Sylverfyre do, is run into the basement of Thilotilo Castle and swap the harp for the Staff of Rain.
Syl's gonna take their chances with the monster in Hawksness. As I mentioned before, I think the only one you realistically have a chance at here is maybe with this defense you could survive 2 hits for Axe Knight, but Stone Man seems to me to be the most likely, and none of those seem that likely. Even with Heal More, you have to be able to absorb 2 hits from a monster to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, I think the Stone Man really is the only realistic thing here. Armored Knight's not gonna happen.
Well, if you can land a stop spell with the Armored Knight, they can at least have a chance if they get heavy on the hurts. But only 50%, probably not going to happen, as you're seeing over here.
Well, still getting a bit lucky there, but not there. Oh, does survive. Absorbs a hurt for 2.
Alright, and here's going to be our last shot. And not going to make it. So, yeah, that's one you're going to need to increase your hit points by at least 10 before you go try back again. Unless, again, you get hurt more, in which case you can take some risks because the Armor Knight will have some turns with hurt.
Dweddit asks in chat, did Edge get killed in the grave on the way to the bottom? He did indeed. He got the first 4 chests, but got killed on his way to the 5th, and never has not returned, and the 5th chest in the grave is indeed where the sword lies.
And Edge choosing not to grind for the flame sword as well, that's going to be even more painful that he was not able to get Erdrick's sword. That could have given him a real good chance to even things up in this race, but as it is, it looks like Sylverfyre's got a pretty commanding lead.
Frisco's Steve laying down a little bit of truth in this seed, saying, did Edge get killed? The answer in this seed is always going to be yes.
I think just comparing the COD counters here between Sylverfyre and Edgeworth, you can see the massive difference in terms of how poorly he has been treated by the monsters.
Borgon making a very good point in chat that he's died almost once every 2 minutes.
Metalhead asks what the tourney's highest death count was, and that's a hard one to answer because we have had some seeds where the trackers just gave up trying to count because they were coming so fast and furious. I know we've had seeds with over 50 at least.
I want to see somebody go back to the first race of the tournament when it comes to me versus JJ Schmidt and count the number of deaths we each took in that seed. I can guarantee you the combined deaths was in the triple digits.
Yeah, that was quite the race to kick off the tournament.
And it was probably in the triple digits by the 60-minute mark. It was that bad.
Edge finds himself unable to run from even a wizard without a whole lot of effort. And those should be pretty easy to run from at 54 agility, so Edge proving agility is nothing but a number.
So Sylverfyre looks like they're looking to grind on this Wraith, it looks like, maybe? And look, a Magiwyvern takes out Edgestream. Again. So, Edge has seen a flame sword. He knows that the flame sword is in Rimuldar. At what point do you concede that you need more attack power and you set up a gold grind just to get the flame sword?
See, I would have thought that would have gone ahead and done that, just because there are 2 chests left in the overworld he hasn't seen. And so the odds of it being in Sharlock are like 78%. And that's pretty good odds, and given that you are not going to want to wait or make your way through everything here with the copper sword, and you feel like there's a really good chance, and if you don't think you're going to be able to get Erdrick Sword until Sharlock, you need something better, just to make it to Sharlock. So I would have gone real fast after getting knocked out of the grave. That's me. I'm also 1-4 in this tournament, so you know.
It does look like Syl is getting off of the Wraith grind for a little bit.
That grind really proving to be worthwhile, though, for Sylverfyre, as they've taken what was about a 400 experience lead a few minutes ago and opened it to a 900 experience point lead.
Although Edge has found a nice little grind spot here, grinding on some Magi Wyverns that do appear to stay asleep.
Still making a bold move there and swinging at a Wraith Knight that has sleep, assuming they were going to one-shot. And I'm still not sure that Sylverfyre has seen the sleep on the blue dragons. That's changing at this very moment.
And now,
getting all the information
combo. And all of a sudden, Soul's like, "Oh look, blue dragons have the wombo. Fantastic!"
Yeah, I don't think we'll see them swinging on, taking another swing at a blue dragon this season.
So at least Edge has stopped the bleeding of the Soul's experience lead here by grinding on these Magi Wyverns a little bit. Is catching up slightly to Sylverfyre.
Yeah, but unfortunately at level 11 with no strength gain, still with the copper sword and no hurt more, what do you do now that's different than what you were doing before this level? I mean, it starts to get complicated with what are your options.
I mean, you gotta think. You gotta go back and get that flame sword. I know there's a broadsword somewhere. I mean, and maybe you grind up for a broadsword, but you gotta get a better weapon.
I mean, if you're concerned about the time of the gold grind, just like you said, there is a broadsword in, I believe it was Rimeldar, and there is the Stones of Sunlight cave that's sitting there not too far away from those towns that has gold in it. You go in that thing 3 times and open it up, and now you've got your broadsword. You don't have to dive into a cave and set up a gold grind that way for the flame sword even. You could just basically get it on your way. But need something to improve over this copper sword, because just an extra 10 attack power for the broadsword would make these fights with Magi Wyverns go a lot smoother.
So, further proof that agility is indeed just a number and merely a suggestion, Sylverfyre finds the first red dragon of the seed, runs from it on the first attempt. 3 steps later, runs into an armored knight, runs on it on the first attempt. Into Hawksness they go, runs into an armored knight, gets sent back to start.
We'll say the weapon upgrade doesn't seem to be on Edge's mind at all, as the fact that if I were in his shoes and deciding I was going to go for a weapon grind, I would not be running from the Goldmen that he has been running from.
Yeah, those Goldmen may not give tremendous experience, but that 255 gold could go a long way. All right, so let's see what level 11 or level 12 provides. Not a lot of strength. No hurt more spell.
We did get an extra 10 HP though, and that is enough to make that is enough extra survivability to take on the Armored Knight, in my opinion. So I imagine that's exactly where Sylverfyre's headed.
Yeah, I think with Sylverfyre's defensive power and HP, I think now they can probably withstand 2 smacks from the Armored Knight to the face, which is what you need to make that particular fight doable. And I think now that fight is doable for Silver, I think. Our stacker bringing up our tracker bringing up the stats of the Magi Wyvern. Hey, at least they're not that big of jerk birds. You know, they've got very low sleep resist. Then all they do is fight. So at least they're not terrible.
Yeah, given what we've seen from the other winged creatures in this seed, these Magi Wyverns are downright pleasant.
Oh look, wraiths have hurt more. You know, it's something interesting here. I don't think we've seen an excellent move on either one of our runner sides.
I have trouble believing that that's true, but I cannot recall having seen it, so you may very well be right.
You're right. I'm having quite the difficulty believing it is true, but I don't believe I've seen one.
Well, chat is telling us that both Syl and Edge have gotten one, so...
Okay. You just must not have been looking at the right screen at the right time. Oh, there's a Kaishin! Commentator's blessing.
Yeah, well, you've certainly seen one now.
Alright, can Syl take down this Armored Knight?
Oh, that's right, Any Snail pointing out that Sylverfyre got an excellent hit on the blue dragon right before it slept and wrecked him.
And now Sylverfyre getting the wonderful news that Armored Knights do in fact have heal more.
And now they'll come back with a different strategy of landing stop spell first. 6 out of 16 stop spell shouldn't be too awful to deal with.
Shouldn't be too bad. You'd think, you'd hit, you give it 3 chances, you'd think you'd hit one. Edge taking the attack to stop spell the Wraith before beating it about its skull.
Yeah, and you can see even in this how much that sword has helped out Sylverfyre, because earlier they were grinding on Wraiths as well, and they weren't worrying about stop spell because they were one-shotting him. and Edge is having to stop spell because it's taken 2 hits to get the Wraith down. I will say through all this, though, that Edge has done a mighty fine job of keeping up. Syl had opened it up to almost 1,000 experience point lead, and Edge has cut it back down to 700.
Yeah, Edge grinding on these Wraiths and Magiwyverns up here. You're right, Edge is definitely, at minimum, keeping pace. If not even gaining ever so slightly on Sylverfyre.
I mean, I guess it'll happen. You'll lose some experience lead when you continually bash your head against Toxinus. Not that they're doing anything wrong by doing so, but it's just Toxinus has not treated them well today.
This seed hasn't treated anybody well. All you have to do is look at the death counts on both sides. Right now, our combined death count is up to 51. And Sylverfyre doing some more exploration, trying to probably find the town of Cole and/or the town of Cantlin, which are the 2 towns that are left outstanding.
Yeah, I think that's where you're really going to see something happen here, as Edge is trying to catch up on experience on Syl. Syl's getting so much exploration in that any catch-up that Edge does, Syl's probably going to be able to break open on the back end when they're done with the exploration and ready to just sit on a grind.
The question is, where the heck do you sit on a grind in this seed?
Well, once you have some hit points and hurt more, I don't think that Toxinus is that bad. The problem is actually surviving a walk from Hawksness to Breckenary or Rimmeldar afterwards, because you have these nasty blue dragons that could get in your way at any given point, or a red dragon, as we're seeing on Sylverfyre screen with Hurtmore. Not an awful thing to see from a red dragon.
Yeah. I mean, that's certainly better than their attacks once you get up to Dragon Lord killable levels. Alright, so let's Devil's Advocate. Devil's Advocate says that they're not going to get Hurtmore till level 16. Where do you grind to get to level 16? That's going to become the big question. Where are you going to grind to get to the point where you can really grind?
Have we seen the Spike Tile in Swamp yet?
No, we haven't.
So that's definitely the first thing I would go at. After that, yeah, that is a tough one. Honestly, this Magiwyvern zone isn't that awful. I might grind at the second floor of Mountain Cave, or the first floor of Grave.
I mean, because you're not grinding blue dragons in this seed. That's a complete non-starter. We haven't seen a golem yet, but they don't have the fairy flute. And given their HP levels right now, grinding a golem really doesn't make any sense. Anyways, I mean, are you looking at a stone men grind and hoping to just hit him with a sleep?
I mean, right now I feel like that's the least resource-intensive path, even if it may not be the most efficient in experience per time path. But we'll have to just see and find out. Again, check the swamp tile and also see when we actually get when we find the other places. And then beyond that, we also, who knows when level 13 is going to be a massive strength boost or a massive HP boost and totally change the calculus too.
That's absolutely true. Edge does get to level 12 with that kill, and Sylverfyre has indeed now figured out that Wyverns have Dragonlord 2 breath. Ruler bringing up the idea, hope for an Axe Knight in the Swamp Cave. That's a possibility, although we haven't seen a lot of the Axe Knights, so we don't know what they have.
Yeah, we just know that they've been difficult to run away from up to this point. Or at least they have been for Edge. If it wasn't a jerkbird sending him home, it was something of the night variety.
Mm-hmm. Dark Shadows at 59 asks, what's bad about Blue Dragons this seed? They have the Wombo combo, Sleep and Dragon Lord 2 Breath. And Sylverfyre finding out that the Wraith Knights have the Baby Wombo combo, the Sleep and Baby Breath combo. Ruler 2112 asks, how did it get the name Wombo Combo? I don't know. It's just something that has kind of okay. It's something that's kind of sort of just evolved. We have Sharlock south, pretty much due south of the mountain cave. So that's where the mountain cave, that's where Sharlock was, due south of the mountain cave. Cersei's Light, what are the numbers in the corner by the pronouns? The ones that say 21 and 32. That is the death count. That is the number of time our runners have died this seed.
So,
go ahead.
Just saying, Syl is getting awfully close to getting level 13 now, only, I believe, 52 experience away from next level, which this Magiwyvern will give them, and so we'll see if there's any good news waiting around the corner.
Alright, let's see what we have here. 3 power, 2 agility, 6 hit points, 5 MP, no spells. So a bit of a middling level.
Again, those extra HP and that tiny little bit of extra agility would lead me to say, let's try the... Well, I mean, if I were Sylverfyre, I'd keep doing the exploration here, hoping to find Cull or Cantlin. But once this exploration ends due to some mean monster, I would probably make my way right back to Hawksness again.
So it looks like Edge now has enough money to get a broadsword and maybe a half-plate armor. Of course, if this blue dragon lets him. Nope.
And maybe that's why he hasn't bothered to go for a grind yet. So cruel.
CD Improv says, just got home from work. How goes the race? Painful. Very, very painful. Everywhere you look, something has Dragon Lord Breath or Sleep or Hurt More. As you can, and the big pain for this particular race is that Edge has gotten 4 out of 5 chests in the Grave of Garanham. Problem is, chest 5 has the Erdrick Sword. And this is the 5th, I believe, stop spell that Silver has tried that has not stuck. He's going for number 6. Nope.
Wow. That's horrible, horrible luck for them. So we saw 6 out of 16, so that's going to land 2 out of 3 times. This is...
Attempt 7? Finally! Hits it on attempt 7.
Now, hopefully, RNG will balance out for them by having the Armor Knight continually cast Hurt.
Takes care of the Armored Knight and gets the Erdrick's tease, Erdrick's token. So at least now Sylverfyre has everything necessary to get the Rainbow Drop. Problem is, they don't know where Cole is and they don't know where Caitlin is.
I've got to think, though, at this point, that they're running out of places to explore. So they may have a pretty good idea where it is, even if they haven't seen it yet.
Question is, where, though? I mean, these enemies have not really allowed a whole lot of long explorations here, and they don't have repel. So where the heck do they go now? Dark Shadows 59, we've seen both curse belts. So we know that the armor is either in Cole or on the Overworld. We know that. We just don't know which.
So Syl's managed to explore the area south of Hawksness now and finding absolutely nothing. So I think that may be... I guess maybe there's the area that's east of Hawksness, maybe the last section that hasn't been explored on this second continent.
Have they fully explored the area to the south of Sharlock?
I don't know how far they got. They were exploring a ways, but I think they got sent home by something, and so went back to going across. I don't remember exactly when they left, but I feel like there's still more to explore down there.
And the Red Dragon here, the Fun Police want to get in on this action here by claiming their first victim here in Sylverfyre, possibly. And there it is. Red Dragons claim their first victim of the seed. Oh god, and they have heal. These grind enemies are just not fun.
And 9 out of 16 stop spells. So until you get a decent amount of power, those red dragons, that defense can really be difficult to do a whole lot to, or to do enough to swing through those heals.
Yeah, I mean, getting everything you need to kill the Dragon Lord is one thing. Getting the levels and just finding the experience to grind is going to be something completely different.
I'm really interested to see what Edge is going to do after he hits this next level. Is he going to choose to grind like this for yet another level or not? I feel like at that point you've got to try to mix it up some, but you know, who knows? Different schools of thought on what you might want to do here.
I mean, Edge is probably grinding in the hopes of getting hurt more, which of course we know isn't going to come at level 13. But now with Sylverfyre, so ever since Sylverfyre got level 13, they have been able to grow this particular lead on Edgestream and experience here. I believe they're up to now I think it's a 1,300 experience point Edge, give or take. I think.
Yeah, well, that's the brilliance of the Erdrick Sword for them. Being able to, they're running into Magiwyverns on their travels and being able to just blow through them real fast with 2 shots and not even having to worry about sleep or anything, while Edge is taking, 4-5 turns to beat them. And so when you can kill a monster in 2 turns that your opponent's taking 5, and you can do it while exploring, it's going to be hard for your opponent to catch up.
Oh no. And here's a blue dragon, sending Edge back to start. This game is just absolutely being brutal to Edge.
Yeah, this is one of those points where when you lose a race like this, you just kind of shrug your shoulders and say, nothing I can do, you know.
Nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. Game didn't want me to win. I mean, and this is definitely one of those seeds where the literal millisecond after I see my opponent finish, I hit .quit. That's it. I'm done. This seed is going in the freaking dumpster. I'm setting the dumpster on fire, and I'm shooting the dumpster into the sun.
That sounds about right.
Mr. Smokes asks, are there any fun flags at work here? I believe the fun flag that has been turned on is kill everybody all the time. But otherwise,
fun
no,
being
it's
a very subjective term.
Wells in chat saying, good luck, DWR. Wells, DWR is having all the luck in this seed. You would be quite proud of this seed.
Edge is now one Magic Wyvern away from the level 13. That is going to be very frustrating to see.
So, High Spirits reminding us in chat that Edge's last race actually hit the 3-hour mark before Jacquemus Wedge finished, and then Edge had to forfeit because of work, real-life circumstances here. So, Edge is going for yet another very, very long, arduous seed.
And we have level 14 Hurtmore. So, the lead for Syl is just about to get bigger.
Yep, it's about to exponentially grow. Yep, so now you can probably take on most grind spots here. Wait, why am I being fired, High Spirits?
And the 1 in 16 Hurtmore miss happens, and the Axe Knight sends Sylverfyre back to the castle.
Crabcakes asks, what is AP and why is Syl so much higher? AP is attack power. Okay, attack power is calculated by your strength plus the attack power on the sword you're carrying. Sylverfyre is carrying the best sword in the game, Erdrick's sword, which gives a plus 40 to attack power, whereas Edge is carrying the copper sword, which... What is that, a plus 8?
Plus 10.
Plus 10. So right now, Sylverfyre is off searching for the towns of Cole and or Cantlin. We know that Erdrick's armor is either in the search spot in the town of Cole or on the coordinates that they will find in the town of Cantlin. Meanwhile, Edge is grinding up to level 14, which we know contains Hurtmore.
So he's going to be very happy when he lands that level, but it's still quite a ways away, and I say he'll be happy. He may be really frustrated figuring that he gave up too much time grinding, but maybe he's just thinking, you know, I've committed to the strategy now. It's either got to pay off or I'm done. So let's go for it.
Oh, there are the last 2 towns right to the south of Sharlock. There is Cole and Cantlin right south of Sherlock Castle. And the armor is in the town of Cole, so the coordinates are not even needed. I don't even think anybody will visit the poor old man behind the barriers.
Yeah, with max gear, I mean, if Edge gets there, he might, because he still needs a weapon. But with Erdrick's sword and the Silver Shield already, Sylverfyre has absolutely no need to deal with Cantlin at all, and just goes back on their merry little way to try to find a grind spot, which now brings up the question from before, where do you grind?
Worst case scenario, you grind in Hawksness on the Armored Knights. Hopefully there is an Axe Knight in the Swamp Cave Spike Tile. Wait. Hawksness is right there. This is one continent. This is a one continent seed.
Are we sure of that? Like, it happens a lot, but I just, find it. Okay, go ahead.
No, this is definitely one continent, because what Silver did is they went south of Sherlock to get to Cole, and then cut east or cut west to get to Hawksness. This is one continent.
Really surprises me then that of all the exploration that Edge has done here, he's never gone to try to go south of the mountain cave, because that's where you said that it was on the first continent, right?
Right.
South of the mountain cave? Okay, so, yeah, it surprises me that he's never come across that there, since it's so close.
Yeah, indeed. Alright, so here comes the grind for Syl. Syl is definitely grinding on Armored Knights. And within a short amount of time, Sylverfyre will be at level 15. So, what are we looking for here? We're looking for stats to be a whole lot better than they are now. I mean, these stats at level 14 are pretty darn pathetic all across the board, except for agility isn't bad, MP isn't bad, but strength and HP are terrible.
So it looks like, though, because of where Hawksness is with regards to Cole, it's not that far of a walk. So it may be that Sylverfyre can keep doing the grind at Hawksness and go back to Cole. Alternatively, I don't know how far it is from the castle. That might be the preferable option as well, or instead, but I think you may be faster going to Cole.
Edge gets taken out by an Axe Knight. Or Armored Knight in this case, I'm sorry.
Level 15 for Sylverfyre. What do we have? We have 1 power, 3 speed, 3 hit points, 3 magic points, and absolute nothing of a level. Still, we still need a lot of HP, a lot of strength. Agility is in pretty good shape at this point in time. Magic is doable if you have strength and HP, but we don't have either, so it doesn't really matter what your magic points are with 70 HP.
Yeah, exactly. So, yep, Sylverfyre is going to head to the east, and I believe go to Cole to go to the inn.
You can just see what Hurtmore's done for them. It's breaking this experience lead to 3,000.
Yeah, and by the time Edge gets to level 14, Syl might already be at 16. Okay, Edge has gotta be on full tilt now after that Magiwyvern kill. Ugh. Or after that kill by a Magiwyvern.
If I'm not mistaken now, as we mentioned before, Edge had to forfeit that race to Jacquemus Wedge, who finished at a time of like 3:0 something or 3 something in the 3:10s. He also had a race with Nest Cardinality, and that race they actually called for a reroll initially, and then the subsequent rerolled race, I want to say Edge won like 220 to 230. And something ridiculous like that. So, but I also know when he beat Game Boy, his seed finished in under an hour. So, it really has been one way or the other for him so far this tournament.
Yeah, pulling up the times now, Jacquemus finished that race with 3:03:27. And then the race between Edge and Nest Cardinality, Edge won with a 2:19:24, beating Nest Cardinality by almost 10 minutes exactly. Meanwhile, the race before that, as you were referring to, he did beat Game Boy by putting up a time of 52:20. So not only sub-houring, but nearly sub-50ing.
So yeah, he's definitely, when you're watching his races, you're gonna watch something spectacular. Yeah, Tyrannex, Edge's draw has been obscenely awful. And again, he was massively ahead of Jack when he had to forfeit. And with that seed, you can't ever say anything about. There were some things that could have gone Jack's way later on with defense breaking that could have evened it up some. But so you can't say he would have won. But he looked to be a significant favorite at that point had he not had to forfeit. And so he's not only had a brutal schedule, but he has won or been incredibly dominant in those games. So he's definitely prepared for the tournament. He can kind of take on anybody, is what he's proven. Of course, having said that, we've got Sylverfyre here as well, who has also beaten our two-time defending champ Game Boy. Which is why he has a race later this week just to make the playoffs.
Meanwhile, we do have Edge doing, the slow and steady grind all the way up to level 14, where we know Hurtmore is going to be. The question then becomes, where is Sylverfyre going to be experience-wise when Edge gets Hurtmore? And the other thing to keep in mind, Edge does not know where Cole or Caitlyn are, nor does he know where Sherlock is.
Yeah, but I figure once Hurtmore comes around, that's going to be pretty quick exploration to find. Obviously, it took some time because there's lots of ways you can go, or it took some time for Sylverfyre to find because there's lots of different ways you can go, but it's not that far away, and once you get Hurtmore, you can start mowing things down pretty fast.
As Sylverfyre is showing, expanding their experience lead to almost 5,000 at this point. 4,500 currently, ish. 44. I
missed that. What did the wizard have that caused Sylverfyre to choose a stop spell?
I missed it. I thought the wizards were pretty benign in this seed. The only thing that would cost... oh, heal more. There it is. Wizards have heal more. Yet another Sharlock enemy that has heal or heal more.
Yeah, so we've got the Armored Knights with heal more. We have the Red Dragons with heal. We have the Wizards with heal more. We have the Blue Dragons with sleep and Dragonlord 2 breath. It's not going to be a fun Sharlock to deal with.
And I don't think we've even seen werewolves or green dragons, really. Alright, so what does level 16 have for Sylverfyre? 5, 6, 8, and a big old nothing. Yuck. Well, a tracker bringing up the green dragons. Green dragons have a whole bucket full of nothing. Now, our tracker bringing up the werewolf. Sleep and hurt more. Yay. This is not going to be a fun Sharlock dive.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those things with 86 agility, Sylverfyre is a pretty massive favorite to run from all of those nasty monsters, except for the Armored Knight and the Red Dragon. And the Armored Knight and the Red Dragon, all things considered, aren't particularly nasty, more so than they ever are. And so when you've got all the nasty stuff on the lower tier monsters, you should be able to run pretty consistently from them. Now, obviously, you may be a 3-to-1 favorite, but that means you run into 4 of them, you're going to fail to run from one, statistically, and if they have Sleep and Dragonlord 2 Breath, that one fail is the only one it takes to send you home.
Yeah, or even the Sleep Hurtmore combo. I mean, if your HP isn't too high, 3 Hurtmores, 4 Hurtmores can send you packing, and it's not on the realm of possibility that you stay asleep for 3-4 turns. So Crab Cakes asks, was the sword in an easy spot that Edge just missed? It's not in an easy spot. So one of the dungeons in this game is known as the Grave of Darenham, and I believe it is a 4-floor dungeon. With 3 treasure chests being on the first, 1 on the third, and 1 on the fifth. So 3 on the first, 1 on the third, 1 on the fifth. And Edge got to the end of floor 3 before dying. So he did get the first 4 chests, but did not get the 5th. So because of that, he's probably very unlikely to go back in there. Darrenex puts it very well in chat. Other way around, the sword is in a difficult spot that Sylverfyre made it to. That's a good way to put it. So Edge now within about 300 experience points of hitting his Hurtmore. Meanwhile, we have Sylverfyre, who has opened up a now 5,600 experience point lead and is shortly on their way to level 17. Focal Point UK asks, does Edge have to get the sword? It is not technically, strictly speaking, a requirement for winning. Okay? We've had races won and finished in this particular tournament with the broadsword and with the flame sword. But given how low that our runners' strength stats are, you need the sword in order to beat Dragon Lord, kind of, sorta. It's not strictly required, but this seed certainly seems like it's going to be.
Alternatively, you could just get enough hit points and magic points to land 3 hurt mores on the Dragon Lord, and you don't have to worry about your strength at all.
Yeah, just land 3 1 out of 16s, no problem.
Hey, I believe I saw someone yesterday land 2 in a row.
Ooh.
Or I guess technically that was this morning.
And Beta Strip also pointing out something very important in chat. It's not just the number of deaths, which is bad for both of our runners, but it's the timing of the deaths that matter. And Edge has had some very, very poorly timed deaths. Not his fault, right? Because that's just the way RNG goes sometimes. But RNG has not been friendly to Edge whatsoever in this seed. If there was a bad time for Edge to die, Edge died.
Yeah, that pretty much covers it. I mean, it's one of those things when things are happening the way they've been happening to Edge in this seed, you can't win. It's certainly not to say that Edge would win if he, landed the sword or whatever. Sylverfyre's playing a phenomenal game too, and hasn't had every roll go their way either. But, it's always, there's a lot of seeds that happen like that where you go, I'm not saying I would have won if these RNG hadn't gone up. I very well could have lost if it didn't, but I couldn't win with the way the RNG went. And sometimes that happens. It's the nature of Randomizer, and this is what's happening to Edge today.
Yeah, exactly. And this is, it's a bit of a saying that a lot of randomizer players don't necessarily like, but it is definitely a thing, and it's rando being rando.
And Edgeworth about to go on a murder spree.
Edge is probably cackling maniacally, thinking, all right, all of you monsters that have gotten me in this seed are getting it back in spades now.
Three power, 3 speed, 4 hit points, and I think that was 8 magic points. That is not gonna do it. 82 hit points on level 17 is not something you want to see. And this is the point where I mention again the difference in the builds. At the rate they're gaining HP, Sylverfyre might actually need 2 levels on Edge rather than just 1. I mean, this is rather absurd from a hit point standpoint. You simply can't go in at 82 hit points at all.
No, you can't. And not to mention your strength is nowhere near good enough. Anyways, I mean, let's say you were to get to the Dragon Lord 2. What type of damage are you going to do to Dragon Lord 2 right now? You're doing 3 to 7 damage. You're doing an average of 5. You need to attack the Dragon Lord 30 times on this strength.
You need to attack 30 times, you have 11 heal mores, 82 HP, not imagining you're getting a whole lot of triples out of that. So, yeah, it doesn't seem like your odds are that great.
So Edge beelines at the Hawk's Nest and is going to absolutely wipe the floor with this Armored Knight and search the spot and get Erdrick's token. Now the question is Edge going to make his way to the east to find the town of Cole?
Looks like Edge is deciding first to kill a couple of extra armored knights.
But of course, Hurtmore has no effect on the Armored Knight, because why would the RNG decide to be kind to Edge now?
Yeah, that 1 in 16 miss just always seems to happen at such an inconvenient time.
So Edge is now doing some grinding, which is good. The bad news for Edge is that Edge is right now in the hole 6,700 experience points. That's not a good number.
Yeah, that's a tough one to make up.
But Edge is venturing to the east. And apparently the old man in Cantlin is getting a little sleepy.
And he's going to come across Cole and the armor, and he's going to be quite frustrated that it was so close all along.
Ghost Pilot says in chat that they're coming in late, but how'd there become such a drastic gap in experience? Oh boy. Sylverfyre managed to dig Erdrick's sword out of the grave of Darenham, whereas Edge died on his way there. So Edge has not picked up the... Oh, Edge is going to go talk to the old man. Oh my god, the old man is getting some company. Oh god. Oh god. That's hysterical. That's hysterical. What was it? 8 north and 5 west? Something like that? That's hysterical. So, between the lack of Erdrick's sword, the lack of Hurtmore until level 14, and the fact that Edge has gotten all of the bad luck possible in this seed, that's how the experience gap has gotten so big. Magic friends, I'm pretty sure Edge is just completely and totally tilted at this point, and either didn't think about the fact that the coordinates are useless, or didn't care and is just doing it for us. And correct, the Erdrick sword is only in a chest for now.
For now is a very important caveat, as I hear McGrew has some very interesting ideas coming up in the 2.2 version.
Yeah, so many interesting ideas, I think he should term it 3.0, but that's just me.
I kind of feel the same way, honestly. Or at least make it like 2.4 suddenly. You know, let's move it up a little more than just one.
And Vraelis has a great idea for the flag. Sword in the stone flag.
So we have Sylverfyre 2 Armored Knights away from the next level. And we will see if we get anything worthwhile in this. Again, this is a 7,000 point experience lead for Sylverfyre, and with a little bit more adventuring that Edge has to do, including getting the sword still, is going to probably open to 8 or 9,000. Now, the reason that's significant is because the gap in levels, once you hit level 19, is 3,000 experience. We have 82 hit points on Sylverfyre's screen. In a crazy scenario, with very, very poor hit point gains, Silverfyre could potentially have to grind an extra 2 levels. 1, 0, 1, 15. Wow. So, as I was saying, Silverfyre may have to grind quite a few more levels, and if there's a point where you could realistically go at, say, 93 hit points on a Strength HP build, you can't go realistically at the equivalent, like, 86 hit points on a Strength Agility. And so that could really, really... that could theoretically come into play if these HP gains continue to be so pathetic. I can't imagine they will, but... if Silverfyre has to gain 2 more levels into the 20s, that is one way Edge could realistically catch up.
I'd agree if Edge knew where Sharlock was.
So Softnum, Edge won't have the same issue specifically. The name you choose in this game affects your stat growth. And the lowercase f that Silverfyre chose is a Strength Agility build, so Strength and Agility get bonuses, or I guess more accurately, hit points and magic points get penalties, but either way you want to look at it, Strength and Agility are going to be improved, whereas on Edgeworth's side, Strength and HP get the bonuses. So that means Edge at the same level will have more hit points, while Silverfyre at the same level will have more agility. Thus, at level 18, while Edge won't have 83 hit points, he'll probably have 89, 88, something in that range.
Yeah, it's roughly a 10% difference in HP, roughly. So, if you add 10% to that, you're getting 89, 88, somewhere around there. But the agility on Edge's side will probably be somewhere around 80. So, not a terribly huge difference, but certainly enough where if all the math works right, yeah, Silverfyre could absolutely be grinding 6,000 more experience points. That's absolutely possible.
So our tracker shot Edge up to 18 just so we could see the comparison point there, and yeah, it's 89 to 83. Now, I have seen the Dragon Lord be defeated at 89 hit points before. I've never attempted it below 93, but I know it has been done. And so, again, this is going to require a lot of things to go exactly a specific way, but if they continue to gain 0 and 1 HP for the next several levels, that's actually going to put it to a point where Edge could potentially be able to nullify this massive experience deficit.
But that's also assuming strength keeps... that's assuming, like, the next level gets a huge strength boost, but very little HP, because strength is still a thing in this seed. As you can see, in 3 levels, Edge is only going to gain 9 more strength. Not to mention the fact that Edge doesn't have Eredric's sword, and isn't likely to get it out of the grave until he fully explores Sharlock.
Yeah, that's where a big part of the extra deficit he's going to start running on Silverfyre beyond the 70 or 7,000 he's already running is going to come in, as that dive to Sharlock is going to set him back even further. Unless, of course, he's diving Sharlock at the same time Silverfyre is diving for the win, but if that's the case, that probably means the stat growth is enough to make it all moot. Alright, so we have Silverfyre at 1,000 experience points away from 19, making their way back to Sharlock again, so we're pretty close to that. I mean, we've talked about how bad the strength is, how bad the HP is, and whatever. what might be interesting to think about is at what stats are you considering going at this point? You're grinding these long levels. They're not super fast grinds, all things considered. It's not awful at all, but it still takes a little bit of time to get to and from Hawksness, and the Armored Knight isn't necessarily the fastest battle around there, especially if they throw a heal more out there on you. So, you don't want to go another level if you don't have to. And so then what are you looking for? Obviously, you want enough HP. You're in Sylverfyre's shoes, you need at least another 10 HP period. But then after that, attack power, with 107 magic points, you've got 13 heal mores. And so you could potentially get off 16 swings on the Dragon Lord. And you've got a decent chance of winning at 129 attack power if you can get off 16 swings. So, you get another 13 MP and another, 13 attack power or something like that, or even like 10 attack power. You could be in decent go mode pretty quickly. So probably not enough for us to gain all those on one level, but there's a good chance by 20 we've combined everything enough to make this an easy decision to go.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Although I just have this hunch that one of those two stats is going to get a big boost here at 19, and the other one is going to lag rather significantly behind.
I would expect that as well.
My guess is that at level 19 is going to have like a 20-25 point strength increase and an HP increase of 2.
Well, we're going to find out after Sylverfyre downs this Armored Knight.
Alright, what do we have here? We have 9 power, 2 speed, 9 hit points. And we're going to 20.
So yeah, now we're really getting close, where you got to start thinking almost any gain is going to send you down. They still need a little more MP or a little more... either need more attack power or more MP to make up for the attack power. But they're not too far off on all 3 stats. If you gain, 5 in each in this next level, then you're good to go.
Yeah, even just... So, you're looking for what at this point? You're looking for gains in any of the 3 counting stats, strength, HP, or MP. If you get moderate gains in 2 of those stats, you're probably going at level 20.
Yeah, definitely. And Uptoon G pointing out that at level 19, even with the stats, there's no way that... Edge will have the HP to go, but still won't have the MP or attack power to do it, even ignoring the Erdrick Sword issue. And so, realistically speaking, for Edge to pull off this whole I can finish 2 levels before Sylverfyre thing, we need the HP gains to completely stop.
Yeah. Yep, we need basically 0 HP for the next 2 levels, or 3 even, for Edge really to even entertain to Edge even having an idea of a comeback. And that's assuming he goes to the grave and gets the sword and finds Sherlock. But hey, on the good news, at least our death count is plateaued at 60. And Lorgon also pointing out that there are 2 potentially awful mini-bosses in Sherlock. That blue dragon could be absolutely brutal, and the red dragon wouldn't be fun either.
This is one of those where you would have, or wouldn't be an awful idea to think about the grind and dive here. You have 13 heal mores, and with 124 attack power, you're going to need more than that. But if you can get decent gains in attack power and HP, maybe you don't necessarily need that extra heal more. And so you can think potentially of a dive and grind here. The green dragons, star wyverns, wizards, werewolves, axe knights, your defense breaking all of them. So you could kill monsters pretty reasonably on the way down. Obviously, you're banking on a lot happening on that level, so it's a pretty big risk. And but if you feel like you're behind, that may be the way to go. I don't know if Sylph feels like they're behind or not. They've played a pretty good game up to this point, but it is something that you could consider.
Question in chat, what's the 3 and 1 both have under their pronouns? That is their record in this 5-round Swiss qualifier, I suppose. Anybody that finishes the Swiss rounds at 3 and 2 or better will move on to the bracket phase of the tournament. So Sylverfyre and Edge have both clinched their spots in the bracket. This race is for seeding purposes. Now, I would say that, generally a 4 and 1 runner will have a, quote unquote easier opponent than a 3 and 2, but not with the amount of talent in this tournament. I mean, you're not going to get any easy matches in the bracket stage.
Just to echo that, I've mentioned it already, but we currently have the player who won the last 2 tournaments and was runner-up the year before that, is currently 2 and 2 and has to win his race this weekend just to get to the playoffs, to give you an idea of just quite how brutal this field is. Although, I can talk about the field, this race is responsible for those 2 losses, both Edge and Sylverfyre. So, again, tells you what talented matchup you're watching right now.
So, Opala in chat says, oh good, Edge isn't going to be too salty. Yes, Edge will. This seed is enough to make anybody salty. And again, Testu in chat asks, are there any 5 and 0 runners left? Well, right now we have 4 and 0s. And those 4 and 0s are Jackamus Wedge, Ryguy 3745, Mr. Holmes, and High Spirits. 2 of those will play each other. We have Jackamus versus Ryguy, and we have Holmes versus High Spirits. So 2 of those people will finish the Swiss part of the tournament 5 and 0 and get the first 2 seeds in the tournament.
And specifically, I imagine with High Spirits and Mr. Holmes are going to do something absolutely spectacular and will be quite the treat to watch. So whenever that gets scheduled, I would thoroughly recommend anyone who has the chance make sure to check it out.
So Thurwolf asks in chat, isn't this the second rough seed Edge has had? No, this is the fourth in a row. So week 2, he and Nescard played, and third in a row. Week 3, he and Nescard played. They re-rolled the first seed, and the winner of the second seed, which was Edge, finished in 2 hours and change. Then last week, Edge played Jackamus, and Jackamus won at 3 hours. All right, there's your power. That does it. That's go mode.
Yeah, that'll do it. 96 HP is plenty to handle all of this, and yeah, there's absolutely nothing. As long as at this point, I can't imagine anything that would prevent Sylverfyre from reaching the Dragon Lord with enough resources to win. Now, obviously, they could get wiped out by a blue dragon or whatever, but if they are able to actually stand in front of the Dragon Lord, I'm pretty sure they win. I don't think they can expend enough resources to make this not free.
Right, because they're going to be doing 10 to 20 damage. right? So, 15 average, you're looking at 10 attacks. They have 13 heal mores. Now, that said, there is a minor chance. It's minor, stressing it enough that you will need a double heal more, but that is so incredibly minor. I mean, you can probably use 3 or 4 or 5 heal mores on the way down and still kill the Dragon Lord.
According to my chart, if you land 11 swings on the Dragon Lord, you win 63% of the time. If you land 12 swings on the Dragon Lord, you win 95% of the time. They have 13 heal mores, and you tend to get, 2 to 3 swings extra on top of that. Now, 96 HP, 3 swings might be overselling it, but yeah, they can afford a loss of a heal more too and be just fine.
All right, so here we go, down into the depths of Charlotte Castle. What fresh hell awaits us here? So far, we haven't seen anything bad. Axe Knights and Stonemen.
I mean, if you're Sylverfyre, you are excited right now. Star Wyvern's also not bad at all. Star Wyvern specifically not bad because they're defense broken. Stonemen aren't quite defense broken. Axe Knights are also defense broken, so both of those are complete nothings. So far this first zone looking very, very kind to Sylverfyre.
Oh, here's a werewolf. Werewolves are dangerous because werewolves do have the sleep and hurt more combo.
Here are our armored knights. Now we've got a decent chance to run from them, and with hurt, it's you'll have plenty of opportunities. But so far, okay, took 3 tries to get away from that armored knight, and here comes another one.
Interestingly enough, neither one of our runners has found the tablet cave. Edgestream gets to level 17.
And we've got red dragons on this last zone now, so there's definitely plenty of things to potentially trip them up, but still, just think they're fine. Probably lose another heal more and still be okay. High Spirits echoing continually that agility is a meaningless number. As is much of chat.
Agility is just merely a suggestion, nothing else. I'm absolutely convinced of that.
I call it the great paradox of Dragon Warrior Randomizer. Agility is meaningful because it affects your defense, and defense is a meaningful stat. Agility as a stat itself is meaningless, though. So agility is both meaningful and meaningless.
Okay, I can get behind that.
So this bottom zone outside of those red dragons doesn't seem to be too bad. And look at this, we have Stonemen with Stop Spell. We hadn't really encountered them, but that would have been a really lovely thing to grind on this seed, even though it would take quite a few hits. This might have actually ended up being slower than the Armored Knights, all things considered, but it required much fewer trips back for resources.
Yeah.
Now for the spike.
Oh, it's our Armored Knight. Not bad at all.
No, unfortunately, you have to deal with the fact that you know that they have heal more, but they don't use it that often Oh, and of course, Silverfyre had an extra 5 MP, so made sure that they got the Axe Knight into Hurtmore range, and then used that last 5 MP, which was absolutely brilliant thinking.
Alright, here we go. We have Silverfyre taking on the Dragon Lord. So as long as the Dragon Lord isn't too jerky here, I would think Silverfyre has it in the bag, but, you know, RNG is a thing. Okay, and here we go, on to Dragon Lord 2. And 96 agility, and Dragon Lord 2 gets a back attack.
Of course. Still, I think Syl's in great shape.
Yeah, you need about 10, 11 hits. You got 11 heal mores. You're still good.
$31. $45. $62. $75. $86. $104. $120. Looking real good for Silverfyre right now. $133. $148. This next swing is likely to do it.
Unless it's a min swing and max HP Dragon Lord. Nope.
166.
There we go.
Everybody get out your GGs for Silverfyre. Silverfyre finishes with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 20 minutes, and 18 seconds. Edgeworth forfeits 6 seconds later for those of you who were betting the over-under. Edgeworth is declining an interview, and I can't say that I blame him. And we do have Silverfyre in the chat with us now. GG, Silverfyre.
So,
GG.
Nicely done, Sil. So, what did you think of that?
I didn't feel great, except for the part where I picked up the Erdrick sword.
Yeah, and
that was the only thing that felt good the entire dang seed.
And you should feel good about that. That was, if there was any one thing in this particular seed that really tipped it in your favor, it was getting that Erdrick sword. Edge was on the 3rd or 4th floor of the grave on his way down to the bottom and got offed by, I believe, a blue dragon or a star wyvern, and never went back. And that,
well, I wouldn't go back if I had gotten off down there either. But the only reason I went down there is like, you know, I kind of want some more XP right now. I'm pretty close to like level 11 or 12 or whatever it was. And there weren't any enemies that you wanted to fight down there at all. It was all nasty junk, and I'm glad that I had the agility I did because I barely scraped away from it. And we were running on like no HP forever.
Yeah, that HP was such a scarce commodity in the seed. I mean, you even took the dive, technically speaking, before as is normally quote unquote recommended. I mean, we all know that you can do the Dragon Lord certainly with less than 97 HP.
I mean, I had enough MP to cover the, especially with like 140 strength. Or attack power anyway.
Yeah.
Other than that, what hangups did Edge get hung up on anything, or was it really just like never getting the sword?
37 deaths.
I felt like I had a lot, but I didn't have that many.
23.
Okay, that's still a lot of deaths.
Yeah, but it was more the timing of the deaths. Edge had some very, very poorly timed deaths. That one in the bottom of the grave. He dove Mountain Cave, I believe, 4 times before even getting that 5th chest. It might have even been 5.
I dove it 4 times. I know that.
Yeah, and
one of the times I was quote diving it, I died to a knight 2 steps away from the cave, and I counted that as dying to the mountain cave because I certainly hadn't accomplished anything.
Yeah. And the overworld enemies, Edge never found Sherlock. He still hadn't found Sherlock when he quit, when the race finished. So, I mean, he still had to do that, and he still had to, find Erdrick's sword, and he was quite a few thousands of experience behind you because you both had the same idea, to grind in that northern desert, right? On the wraiths and the Magiwyverns that were up there. You both had the same idea. Thing is, with the sword, you were 2-shotting most of the enemies up there, where Edge had to put them to sleep and then 3 and 4 shot them. So Edge was using 5 turns. What
kind of sword did Edge have?
Copper.
Oh, ick. I had a flame sword even before getting Erdrick.
He did at one point attempt to do a short grind at the Stones of Sunlight cave to get a broadsword, and then proceeded to get slept and wrecked by a blue dragon immediately out of it, and said, nope.
Wow. Edge just didn't get any breaks then.
No, he really didn't. I mean, we made the comment several times that RNG was just not in his favor. I mean, RNG was probably average to you, and RNG was just abysmal to Edge. He had a bunch of, like I said, bad deaths and just unluck. And you got the sword, and you made full use of that, and you got it. So how surprised were you that this was one continent?
I was kind of panicked at that point. Because when I saw that, I'm like, oh no. Like, I was thinking that there are 2 semi-large areas of the map that I still had to explore for Caitlin and Cole. And then I see it's one continent. Like, I walk into that town and it's like, oh, there's got to be Caitlin or Cole. And it's Hawksness, and I'm like, oh no. That area I haven't checked. That's the only area left. And I've left it there for an hour and a half. And so, like, when I picked up the Erdrick's armor, my heart sank. And I mean, granted, I've at least been running on, like, Erdrick's sword, silver shield, magic armor. So, like, it wasn't the hugest boon. But, like, that was the thing I needed for Go. Like, that had been the thing I needed for Go mode.
Yeah, and I think Edge found the armor actually relatively shortly after you did. Because
after me, wow. Okay, I would have expected that he bought, like, given all the other things, like maybe he got that first.
Yeah, no. So he grinded in that area until level 14 and got hurt more. He immediately went to Sharlock, got the token out of Sharlock, and then went east.
You mean Hawksness?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Hawksness. He got the token out of Hawksness and then immediately went east to find Cole.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But then he never went north from Cole, nor did he go due south from Tantagel.
Correct. He never went south of the mountain cave, and he never went north from Cole. Although he did do one thing for us. He checked the coordinates of the fairy flute. You guys probably stumbled over it once or twice. It was 8 north and 5 west.
Oh, okay.
So 4-1 going into the bracket stage. What do you think about that? How you feeling about that?
I'm real happy about going 4-1. Even though tonight was like a real rough night and a real slow seed. And it's like I was nervous, but I wasn't I wasn't dissatisfied with my decision making. Especially given all the hazards on that map, I'm happy with how safe I played through them. And happy with the choice. It's no, I should really just grind more. I don't have enough HP to walk around when 6 different enemies have Dragonlord Breath. And I mean, I found a better grind spot later, but it was after I had already committed to grinding to 4,000, to the point where I had hurt more, or close to hurt more. So it was okay, whatever. I found a pretty good grind spot. It's fine.
Tilo, do you have any questions or comments for Syl while we have them in the booth?
No, not really. Just really, really well done race, really well done tournament. You've knocked off some absolutely phenomenal competition, and definitely going to be a tough out in the tournament. So GG.
Yep. I'm looking forward to the brackets.
All right, so
I'm a little curious about seeing the map, although I have a pretty good drawing of it. You basically had from Tantagel, you had kind of 2 main branches. You had the southwest, which had Swamp, Garenham, and eventually the Rainbow Drop across the giant swamp when I literally walked into the Rainbow Drop cave with 1 hit point. And then you had the big south branch where you had the mountain cave, and then a whole lot of nothing until you got to Sharlock, Cole, and Cantlin. And then to the west of that, you had Hawksness, and then you had the Swamp Cave, and then north of the Swamp Cave, you had Rimeldar and Breckenary.
And looking at this map, there were quite a couple of big landmasses that were completely inaccessible. There in the far corners of the map, really, just completely inaccessible.
Oh yeah, that doesn't surprise me. The whole top left, there's a big chunk of top left that, that's where I thought the swamp cave led to, because there's a big, kind of just enough tiles up there to make for a pretty wide area. Is the map posted in Discord or something?
Yeah, it's posted in the spoilers channel in Discord.
Okay, let me go look. Kind of curious what my how accurate mine was. Yeah, pretty accurate actually. Okay, so that big top left area that I was talking about is mostly just ocean. And then top right had an area too that was also just ocean. Or not ocean, but there's that mountain continent. And then some ocean. All right.
Yeah, so any final comments about this seed before we head out of here for the night?
No, I think I've said just about everything.
Cool. So before we send you off to Speed Gaming 2 then to watch the Zelda 1 randomizer qualifiers that are going on, just want to go through our schedule for tomorrow here in the Dragon Warrior tournament. So tomorrow it looks like we have 2 races. We have Sigma Fan versus Brysulf tomorrow at what looks to be 8 p.m. Eastern time, doing a whole bunch of wacky flags. Then we have the Marine 2 taking on Braxis Muse at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So those two will either be here on RPG Limit Break or somewhere on the Randomania family of networks. So, come join us for those tomorrow. Tilo, any final words before we get out of here for the night?
No, just thank you to all of our volunteers, all of our viewers, and just thank you to everybody who's been a part of this tournament so far. And good luck to our runners in the brackets.
Yeah, indeed. Make sure you bop our runners, Sylverfyre and Edgestream a follow. And thanks again to our tracker, Hangry Canuck, and our restreamer, Lord of the Synth. For my co-commentator, Thilotilo, I am Z-Man 050778. Everybody have a great night, and let's go watch some Z1R.